Hello everyone, welcome back to the Latina Homemaker. Today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade sourdough bread with honey and olive oil. This recipe makes 2 loaves, and I'll also show you how you can add different inclusions at the end when shaping your dough. Let's get started. In a large bowl, add 300 grams of active sourdough starter and 600 grams of water. Mix until the starter dissolves in the water. Step 2, you're going to add 15 grams of honey and 15 grams of olive oil. You're going to mix well to combine. The honey adds a little flavor and helps with browning, while the olive oil makes the bread softer. Okay, after you're done with that, you're going to add 900 grams of bread flour. Mix everything together until a rough dough forms and no dry flour remains. Okay, it's going to look shaggy, and that's okay. Cover the bowl and let the dough rest for about an hour. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Before you do that, you are actually going to add the salt before you mix. Okay? I do everything together. Some people like to mix the dough without the salt, and after they let it rest for 30 minutes, then they add 23 grams of salt. I don't do that. So I just mix everything together and let the dough rest all at once. Okay? Another tip I like to give you is to have your scraping tool available. I choose to have a silicone spatula just because it works better for me when I am scraping the sides so I don't waste any ingredients. I like to use a silicone spatula with a little bit of water on it. So just wet it and then scrape the sides. Okay, and this is how it should look like after you mix everything together and you scrape your sides and stuff. This is the point where you're going to let it rest for about 30 minutes to an hour. After an hour rest, you will do your first stretch and fold. Okay, so you're going to grab one side of the dough, stretch it upwards, and fold it over the center. Okay, this will give the dough strength. Okay, and this is when the gluten forms. You're going to do this about 3 to 4 times. I do this about 3 to 4 times. Okay, if I have time. If not, just three. And yeah, it's pretty easy. So just have a bowl of water. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. Have a bowl of water, wet your hands, and do your stretch and folds with wet hands. And you can also have your scraping tool there. Like, I still need it by this point. I think the only time when I don't need the scraping tool is on my last stretch and fold, when the dough has been it forms nicely already, the last one. So that's when I don't need that scraping tool. After your last stretch and fold, you're gonna cover the bowl and let the dough rise at room temperature until it looks puffy and airy. It's gonna have a little, like, it looks like a little dome, okay? When it doubles inside, it looks like a little dome. Um, and you once the dough has risen, leave it in the bowl, cover it, and place it in the refrigerator overnight. This slow fermentation helps develop a deeper sourdough flavor. The next day, take the dough out of the fridge. Lightly flour your surface and gently turn the dough out. Divide it into two equal pieces when shaping the dough. This is when you can add your inclusions. You're going to flatten the dough slightly, and you're going to sprinkle your fillings like cheese, jalapeno, herbs, or olives. I prefer cheddar cheese and jalapenos. Then you're going to fold and shape the dough into a loaf. Place each loaf into a flour proofing basket or bowl. I don't have time for that. So while my oven is preheating to 425 Fahrenheit with my Dutch oven inside, so it gets nice and hot, I'm actually, I shape my dough and I let my dough balls sit waiting for me on the table. Okay. Um, Once you have shaped your dough and your oven is already hot to 425 Fahrenheit, you're gonna place the dough onto parchment paper and you're gonna score the top with a sharp knife, and then you're gonna bake it. Okay. I like to add a little bit of, this is optional. I like to add a little bit of olive oil on my hands um, before I score my dough so that this gives it a little bit more crispy feel to the bread. Okay, so we're gonna start baking it now. 25 minutes covered and 20 minutes uncovered until the crust is golden brown and crispy. Okay. The last step is actually the hardest one. You're gonna let your bread cool before slicing so that the inside finishes setting, okay? Because you don't want gummy bread, okay? And that's how I make my sourdough bread with honey and olive oil. It's crispy on the outside, soft in the inside, and you can customize it with so many different flavors. If you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye!